You'll see how I do it's a little different from just the way I do it on the show. Because on the show, I can't say it's legal advice, of course, because I don't represent you. But at the end of the day, I'm not able to get into this shit the same way. I mean, get into the stuff the same way that I can online. So, let's get into this. Okay. So, somebody wrote and they asked whether, they said, does child support automatically end when the child turns 18 and still enrolled in high school? Or does that have to be requested? I noticed that my child support I received has been lowered recently. When I asked why, I was told it was because my child was 18. However, my child is still enrolled in high school. My decree states that child support should not be terminated if my child is 18 and still enrolled in high school. So my question is, was that termination automatic by the Attorney General's office, or was that something my ex had to request? Okay, so in the state of Texas and really many other states, as long as a parent, as long as a child is in school, you are responsible for taking care of that child. If you over a certain income bracket, like Rick Ross, y'all see what his baby mama's up there doing, talking about she's going to go for a modification. If you're of a certain income bracket, you're going to have to support them all the way through college. If it's common and customary for a person that makes the money like you to support a child through college, you have to go all the way through college. But in most states, it's the age of majority or 18 or when they graduate from high school. Why? Because some kids, they get held back or whatever. And so until they have that high school education, they really aren't ready to be, let out into the world. So what happened in this particular case is the Attorney General determined that that child was no longer enrolled in school because they don't cut it at the age of 18. The Attorney General's office generally is going to send you some documentation and ask you, whether or not your child is going to graduate or not. And they only ask that question a lot of times if they don't see enrollment. So if your child is, I had a case, as a matter of fact, the case went on appeal. I ended up winning the case for the client. But for real, y'all, my client was paying child support for a child that was 22 years old. Because all the mom was doing was sending in the enrollment paperwork to the Attorney General, and they would keep the child support going. So all you have to do, long story short, parents, is turn in your child's enrollment paperwork to the Attorney General, and they'll keep the child support going. They just need to know that the child is still enrolled in school, okay? And most of the time, they get confused if your child has been held back or something along those lines, or your child is a year behind, they lose track. Most children graduate on time with their birthday, and then they'll run that right. But all you got to do, send in that enrollment paperwork, they will keep that shit going. Again, I had a client, child was 22 years old, and they were still getting child support taken out their check. I had to stop it because the mother was turning in enrollment paperwork. And for real, what she was doing was turning in the enrollment paperwork, and then the boy would drop out of school the next week. But the Attorney General don't do no follow-up. So all they need is that enrollment paperwork at the beginning of the year, and they're going to keep it going for a whole nother school year. You ain't heard that from me. And if you have any questions about anything I'm talking about, just post them below, and I'll stop, you know what I'm saying, and we'll discuss it. But what I want to do is really discuss the theory behind the way shit works, because we as a people, we're very intelligent at the end of the day. The law is just kind of weird in the way that it's written. And so as long as we kind of understand the concept behind that shit, then it's easy for us to be on our feet in different situations and know what the law gonna say ourselves. We don't need to contact attorneys. Okay? So that's my goal. My goal is to keep you up to speed to where you learn how to know what's gonna happen regardless without an attorney, so that you can move better on your own. You know what I'm saying? Attorneys are expensive. And I'm not trying to put us down as attorneys, but a lot of times you don't need to pay somebody to do this shit. This shit is a way of thinking, it's a way of life, and it's the way that they have that shit set up. Once you understand the way that shit go, you can put yourself in pretty much any situation and figure out what the law gonna say about that shit. Hands down, period. On period. And without a lawyer. So, here, let's go. If my ex hacked my social media, can I use that in a custody case? I think my ex hacked into my social media and was pretending to be me. People have then confronted me about it. I'm locked out of my social media account now. I believe it was my ex. Can I use it against them? Okay. Anytime we're fighting cases in court, y'all already know you have to be able to prove what you're saying. So, guys, you got to be careful when you're doing shit now and hacking and all this shit, because IPC addresses are readily available now. They can pretty much tie an IPC address to you, your computer address or whatever. They'll know because like you pull up your internet on there, you pull up which has your account. You pull up your credit cards and shit on there. You pull up your social media accounts on that son of a bitch. You pull all that up, and your computer has its own address, just like a house. So that's how they're able to find. That's how they find people that do that child pornography and shit. They find them. And that's why people that do child pornography shit tend to go to like libraries in the middle of the day, weird places to where it won't be tied to them. But the way they end up getting caught is motherfuckers always want to check an email. They always want to check this. And that's why the government has made Meta, which is Facebook, and all these individuals go through all of this identification process and identify who y'all are or not allow y'all to keep the shit. So I know a lot of people were going through that shit a few years ago with Facebook. Like, if you did not properly identify yourself, they killed your page. You know, and the reason that they did this because the government was like, fuck this. People are hiding behind these electronic, faces, and we don't know who the fuck they really are. So we need all of these electronic holders of information to be able to identify these motherfuckers on down to a social security number and where they grew up at. So that if these motherfuckers do something on this internet, we can find out who the fuck done it. With the IPC address, with screen names and logins. So that's why the government is so into knowing who the fuck you are. We have to identify ourselves. And that's why pretty much the same motherfuckers own all the social media pages, right? That's why. They own them all. So once you went through identification with one, you're pretty much identified throughout all of them except for TikTok. That's pretty much the only one they have right now going where it's not really identifiable. However, TikTok makes you use a fucking email address. 9 times out of 10 people gonna use an email address that's associated with another social media account, and so the government gonna know who you are. Long story short, that's how people are able to find who hacks into shit and who steals profiles and shit like that. An expert could easily pretty much figure that shit out because they do computers and shit. I was growing up, my little brother could hack into fucking anything. I'm sure he still can. When we were kids, I won't even tell you the type of shit that this motherfucker used to hack into, okay? But you have computer people out here that are just highly intellectual with computers and shit, and those are the type of people that'll catch you doing shit like this. So I'm going to say this, ma'am, the first thing you got to do is prove that this person hacked your social media, which is easily doable if you got the money to pay an expert to go through and check. And they can figure that shit out. And if you can prove that that person hacked your social media and they did some ill things to you, said some things about the child, or did anything that's not in the best interest of the child by trying to harm you, yes, you can use it in your custody case. If the shit has nothing to do with best interest of the child, the court's not going to care. That's just the truth. And the reason that the court don't care is because they don't want to get involved in he said, she said, back and forth fighting between parents. When it comes down to the child, it's just best interest of the child. So you could do something to your baby mama or to your baby daddy that ends up hurting that child because you fuck over your baby mama. Like, let's say you called a job and then make her lose her job. Now she's unemployed. Court gonna be mad at you. They find out you done that because now you're unemploying that child's parent, and now you're putting that child in a fucked up position. But let's say somebody just rolled by, on the lunch break and, said, "Ooh, girl, you ugly," and kept going. Okay, well, bringing that up in a custody, dispute ain't gonna really do nothing. Unless it hits the point of harassment, and then we know that ain't good for your mental health. Your mental health needs to be on point because of the child, and then if they can relate that shit to the child some kind of way, then you can bring that shit up in court. So that's kind of how it works with custody battles and shit. If you could basically tie that shit to the best interest of the child, you can get it in. If you can't, they don't want to hear about that shit. And that's just pretty much how that goes. Okay, so somebody else wrote me, and they asked me, they said my spouse filed for divorce, and now they're stalling. What papers can I fill out to keep it going? It's been over 70 days past the legal time to wait. I signed the paper to receive the divorce without being served. We don't agree on terms. I want to get a court date to let the judge make the choice. Okay, so anytime you get served with divorce papers, you know what I'm saying? It's always good for you to file your countersuit because shit like this will happen. A lot of times people try to file divorces to cry wolf, okay? I'm going to let y'all in on something. I being an attorney, being a female, and just hanging around with a lot of guys or whatever, noticed that a lot of them file divorces to create separation so they could cheat. So they can cheat without being, without a motherfucking claiming adultery. So there are times out here where these men will file divorce petitions against your ass and you don't even know because they haven't served you with them. They're really just setting themselves up to be able to do what the fuck they want to do. And if you try to say that they were cheating, they're going to be like, there was a divorce filed at the time. We had filed a divorce, so that's not true. That's why they do that shit. So, I said that to say this. People file divorces for different reasons. A lot of the times, they don't want the divorce. They just file that bitch to get their way or so they can go cheat, right? So this person may have done that. That may be why they filed this divorce and they're not doing shit. Now, 70 days, that's not a lot of time. In the legal world, shit moves slow. But what you can do to always make sure that you get control when somebody else sues you, the way you get the control from them is to sue them bitches back. You sue them bitches back and you run your case. Then they're left stupid as fuck because they're trying to slow down and not do the shit, but they can't control your case. So you counterfile your own case against them for divorce and you run your shit to the end, and who gives a fuck what happens with their divorce? You gonna get the divorce on your shit. Just like that. So that's what you have to do. You know what I'm saying? When somebody sues you, to get the ball back in your court, to take control, you sue them back. You find something to sue their ass back for, and you take control of that, and you run that shit. Okay? Capital murder case. And again, if y'all have any questions while I'm just rolling through or whatever, ask me. Okay? Capital murder case. First, I need to ask what my brother should do if his court-appointed lawyers are trying to make him take a plea deal 3 days before trial. Also, what can he do to get another lawyer that's appointed, or is it too late to fire them because they're totally misrepresenting him in all aspects? I would say this, y'all. Anytime somebody charged with capital murder, it's life with no parole or death. Those are the two consequences. The first thing you always want to do as an attorney, which I work a couple capital murder cases, is find out whether or not this is a death case or this is just a life with no parole case. Either way it goes, a loss is will F a person up. I mean, it just will. It fucks you up. So at the end of the day, the lawyers that are given these cases are highly skilled and specialized lawyers. Even the court appointed, you can find them motherfuckers on 48 hours and shit like that. Most lawyers that are on capital murder cases have extensive trial experience, and it's normally not just one. It's going to be a couple of them. And that's because of the issues involved, and to make sure that that person is adequately represented. You don't want some shit like that coming back on appeal, due to a lawyer error. So what the judges do is they appoint highly skilled attorneys on those cases. With that being said, it ain't easy to switch attorneys when you're in a case and it's highly skilled like that. Because you got to make sure that everybody that's on the case understands what's going on. And when a judge has to add a new attorney or get rid of attorneys and put a new set on at the last minute, it normally buys time for the defendant. And they don't want to do that. They want to make sure that the defendant is adequately represented, and making sure that people know the whole fucking case inside and out is a way as a judge to make sure that somebody is adequately presented. So that's the thought process behind it. Like a lot of the times you'll have a court-appointed lawyer, and you're not feeling you're not feeling it, so you want to get your own lawyer, and the judge will make that court-appointed lawyer stay on the case and work with the person that your family has paid for. It pisses a lot of people off, but I have learned that the reason that judges do that is so that you cannot file an appeal. Like to say that your attorney was not knowledgeable or some shit and try to get a retrial, because the judge is like, bitch, I left the same attorney on there that was been on there the whole time. That motherfucker know everything. So even though you went and got a new attorney, your new attorney was schooled by your old attorney. So baby, that ain't happening. And I noticed that in Harris County, like Judge Nikita Hartman does that a lot. She'll leave the old, and that's an old school trick to make sure, number one, we not resetting this shit, and number two, I'm gonna make sure somebody on this case know everything about this bitch from the rooter to the tutor. I don't want them new ass people getting on here missing evidence and shit and fucking you over. So that's another reason to do it. But again, it'll stop you from switching attorneys sometimes, because they be like, hell no, these motherfuckers already know the case. I don't want to put nobody else on here. And then they fuck you over because they don't know your case good enough. It's too much evidence in this bitch. It's thousands of exhibits and shit. And this motherfucker ain't going to be able to get ready in time. So you may be able to switch the attorneys, ma'am. You may not be able to switch the attorneys. Now, somebody taking a plea deal 3 days before trial, that don't have nothing to do with shit. Most of the time, an attorney gonna try to settle the case up until the time, you know, that the case is over. I've had times where I had a case where, old boy, you know, tried to kill his girlfriend or whatever, point blank. She ended up not dying. So she ended up, you know, crawling to safety, calling, you know, he was in a standoff with police for a long time on the run. Finally, they caught him. We tried the case because they just wanted too much time from him. And a lot of the times when you want somebody to throw their life away, you just going to have to throw it away yourself, because a lot of people are not going to sign 30 and 40 and 50-year plea deals. It just is not going to happen. They're going to take their shot and they're going to do the race. So that's what this young man was doing, which I definitely understand. So we fought that case. And we had defenses. We used like self-defense and little shit like that. And so when the jury went in the back, to go decide whether he was going to be guilty or innocent, the state of Texas walked over to me with a fucking plea deal. Hell yeah, I took that plea deal to my client, and that nigga took it. He took it because they were scared. They were like, fuck, you might beat this case or hang the jury. Shit, we wouldn't offer him this before, but we'll offer it now. While the jury was in the back. Matter of fact, the jury came out and was like, what the fuck? You don't need us? And we was like, nah, we figured it out. But thank you for your service, because if we wouldn't have got a chance to run this case, the DAs wouldn't have given him that deal. I couldn't get that deal any other way. I had to fight this case all the way through trial, let the jury go in the back, let them bitches get scared, and then they gave him some time that he could take. And then we was good. Because at the end of the day, I mean, who did it was not up for the imagination. Like, the girl know who shot her is her baby daddy. So, like, what the fuck? She coming in that bitch. He shot me, and this is why he shot me. You feel me? So it wasn't a question of whether or not he did it. I had to use weird shit like, weird ass defenses like that I can't even fucking think of right now that are like self-defense. But there's other weird ass defenses out there that can get you out of shooting somebody. Okay? You know, and that's what I had to run. Swear to God. And they were like, it might work. Gave him a deal. His sister with her fat ass, she was mad. Why you taking a deal? Bitch. That jury came back in there. They was like, what the fuck? You don't need us, right? I was like, nah, I want to talk to y'all, right? So they wanted to talk to me or whatever because they want to talk to me about the case. They're like, case is interesting. And at first they was hung. They couldn't come to no agreement. So they were talking to me like about the good points, why they were hung. And then they said, look, we was getting ready to convict him. We was getting ready to get him. And I was like, what? They was like, yeah, it took a few days. And they said, but we were getting ready to get him. And they said it was this one point, and it was the bullet where it had went through. They said when that bullet went through, because it had went, we like started doing the trajectories. They had boards back there and shit. They be drawing shit. They be going over the evidence, y'all. All of that shit in the back. And they was like, it was one fucking bullet wound that did it. And at that point, they figured she was in a defense position. And so she couldn't have been the aggressor. Like, it was because my argument was it was a tussle over the gun. And it was. But their argument was, nah, not at that point. The tussle stopped and he had that bitch. And we believe that because this one bullet wound and where it was in her hand. And we believe it was like this. And at that point, she couldn't have been grabbing shit because he had shot here. He had shot our hands, both of them up. So they were like, yeah, and it took us 2 days to get there. They were like, but we were getting ready to convict him. If he would have been convicted, that motherfucker was going to get 30, 40, 50, 60 years. That's his baby mama. He shot her in cold blood, face point, and blank, period. Like, on some domestic violence type shit. And they have been having domestic violence for years. His fat ass motherfucker said, and the bitch actually came to me to try to get a case, and I did not accept her case because, bitch, fuck you. She came to me and was like, oh, you making him plead. I'm not making him do nothing, but this deal has never been on the table. It's the deal of a lifetime. I, as an attorney, have to give him every deal that the state of Texas gives me. I can't not take it to him. Then that's unethical on my part. And I can get disbarred. I can get called before the state of Texas. I can get in trouble with my license. So whenever a motherfucker throw a deal out, if it's the day before trial, if it's during trial, if it's 3 days before trial, if it's 4 days before trial, then I, as the lawyer, have no fucking choice whether or not I want to. I don't have a choice. I gotta take that message to my defendant, to my client, and I gotta let him say yes or no. So I don't agree with her saying like making him plead 3 days before, because baby, when you working, especially on a motherfucking capital murder case, that's life and death for a motherfucker. And I'm gonna tell you, whether when you convicted, boo, it doesn't matter. Like, that's your life. Because if you're convicted, you're in jail and you will never see the light of day again. If you are not convicted, I mean, if you are convicted, if you're convicted the other way, you're going to die. They're going to sentence you to death. So scrapping to save somebody's life, or settling things, or taking issues to somebody whose life is on the line, it don't matter if it's during the trial. And that attorney has an ethical obligation to tell him anytime the state of Texas gives a plea deal. So never like think that you being sold out because somebody coming to you with a deal the day of or the day before trial. They don't have no fucking choice. State of Texas come with a deal, your attorney got to give you the deal. If your attorney don't give you the deal, that's grounds for sanctions or disbarment. So they got to. So you can't hold that on the attorney for bringing you the deal. They really honestly don't have a choice. It's times where I look at the DAs really much of the time in the face and say, that's what you want to give my fucking client? Are you fucking kidding me? And they'll be like, but I'm like, I'm going to take it to them. But whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I already know my client ain't going for this shit, but I still got to take it to my client. So, yeah, that's that on them capital murder cases. And really any case. All right. So, here goes another one. Let's see. That's one we already did. I want to get married with an open CPS case. I have an open CPS case that's been open for about 3 years. I've been putting my love life on hold. So will that affect me getting my kids back? I'm going to say this, y'all. Everything you do when you have a CPS case is going to determine whether or not you're going to get your kids back. Adding another motherfucker to the mix that is not like some strong individual that makes you look better is going to fuck you. So you probably should not get married while you got an open CPS case if you're trying to get your kids back. If the man got a criminal history of any sort, felonies, if he's been accused of drug activity around the children, shit like that. And if he's not the fucking church deacon, you probably don't want to do it. Because you don't want to put yourself in a position where, A, you looking like you nigga hopping. You know what I'm saying? You going from man to man to man to man. Because if the court sees that shit, they going to be like, bitch, you can't make the right decision still. We can't get these kids back. Look at who the fuck you marrying, Bobo the fucking clown that's unemployed. Nah, bitch. So it depends on who this person is she's trying to marry while she has this open CPS case. It depends on that. If this person is not somebody that really is like a fucking one of them salt and pepper gang looking niggas, then no, ma'am, you shouldn't do it. I'm just being honest. If you ain't gonna bring salt and pepper gang, you ain't gonna be able to do this shit right now. Like, you're gonna have to find somebody that's like looks so good to the public, like it's good that you're marrying them, and it takes you a step up, like in morals and credibility. Because whenever they file a CPS case against you, their argument is that you don't have the right morals or credibility to raise a child. So you got to get somebody with some higher shit that makes you look better, and then you can get married to that person. But if you're getting married to an unemployed motherfucker, a motherfucker that's getting any sort of like Social Security, disability checks, government funds, shit like that, it's gonna look bad on your case. It just is. You know what I'm saying? It just is. But if they see you marrying some, salt and pepper gang guy, that works with children and shit like that, shit, you probably win your kids just by getting married to them. You understand what I'm saying? And that shit is true. It is what it is. People can give you player points in court. So, ma'am, what type of ninja is it? Does he have a job or not? Bitch, do he work with children? Is he like a teacher or something? Like, we need something like that in order for you to be marrying him and for that shit to look good during your CPS case. Because at the end of the day, your kids come before any man. So putting your love life on hold is something you do as a parent a lot of the times anyway. So, bitch, we're not going to give you brownie points for being a fucking mother. Next case! Sorry. And I'm just being real, y'all. I'm not no ass. I'm going to tell you right now, like, a lot of times people see it like, oh, you are a goody two-shoes ass bitch. No, I'm absolutely not any of that. You can pretty much catch me in any hood on any given fucking occasion. Straight like that. Like, some of my best, people, you know what I'm saying, have been to jail. So I ain't that type of bitch at all. I'm just going to keep it real, though. I mean, come the fuck on. Kids come first. Like, we all know that. Next case. Okay, how do I get a court order for custody of my 17-year-old sister without paying the $5,000 retainer fee? Bitch, do you really want to pay $5,000 for a 17-year-old that's about to be 18? I need her to think. I know that's right. Okay, Piggy, like for real. I can't really name, like, if I give you some of my best friends, like, motherfuckers been in jail. Okay, because how can you be black and not go to jail in America? Does that exist? Okay, let me keep going. You know what I'm saying? Let me get on my soapbox. Y'all gonna be in my spiritual, meditation Monday ass shit, but it's hard to find a black person that ain't been locked up. Okay, so, my dad has full custody of my 17-year-old little sister. He had a stroke in 2020, so now I take care of both of them. Our dad was diagnosed with terminal cancer. He's accepting of me and my husband taking care of her once he's gone. She will need health care, college needs, etc. How do I go about filing something through the courts without paying thousands of dollars for an attorney when both parties are in agreement? What I will tell you and what I will say is I would not try to get custody of a 17-year-old minor. It's going to be too complicated. She's getting ready to be an adult, and you can adopt her as an 18-year-old adult. And you could do an adult adoption pretty easily in the courts. You could possibly get through that without an attorney, and then you could still help her with schooling. You can then put her on your health care and all of that shit. So I will wait a couple months until she turns 18 to make it easy. Because what's going to happen is if you're trying to file a custody lawsuit, you're going to have to file against her mama too, wherever her mama is. And then your dad is passing. So how is he going to get to court? You see what I'm saying? And the court ain't going to default somebody that's terminally ill with cancer because it's almost like they're unavailable to come. So just wait till she's 18. Do an adult adoption. I've done it before. I've done it for one of my sisters for my dad so she could inherit. And that shit going to work just like she was a child. Just save yourself the money. Wait a couple months. You good. And right now while your dad is living, you can lean on everything that he has because you're his caretaker. So you automatically take care of her and control everything because your dad can just give you a power of attorney. So if your dad has custody, have him go get a power of attorney paper from any attorney's office, or hell, go to fucking Office Depot and grab one of them motherfuckers and fill it out. Make sure your dad gets it notarized and use that power of attorney for while he's living. Once he passes, she's 17. She'll be able to help you do whatever you need to do with her because you're going to have your daddy's death certificate and your 17-year-old sister. And trust me, Medicaid, Social Security, they going to do what the hell they got to do to make sure she good until she's 18, and then you can adopt her. It'll be easy. Trust me. They going to move with that death certificate on a 17-year-old all day long. It seems like they won't, but they fucking will. Trust me. They're going to do whatever overrides they have to do because she's old enough to say, this is my sister. I need to live with her. My daddy died of cancer. You'll have the proof of the death certificate. You're going to be straight. Don't waste your money. You right on that. Okay, so let me see. This one we answered. Okay, here goes another one. This one said, good morning. Good morning. Who is this? Who is this? Good morning, Almond Brown. Okay, so this one says that I have a court order that says when my daughter turns 3, that I can start picking her up at elementary or secondary school. I'm wondering if daycare would be considered the same for my court order. Yes. 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 And what happens is, when that child starts going to daycare, you can use that daycare as a school for pickup and drop off of the child. Absolutely. Yes, you can. And so what happens is you got your dates that, the shit starts and ends. And they tell you to go with the school holiday, like spring break and shit like that. When a child goes to daycare, but they're not in regular school, you're going to go with the school district that's closer to the primary parent's house. So let's say the primary parent stays off of Scott in 288 in Houston, Texas. That's HISD. You're going to pull up the HISD school calendar, and that's going to give you your days for spring break, for your holiday breaks, and all of that shit. And yes, you're going to pick the child up and drop the child off at the daycare that is considered school. You got any other questions about that? Let me know. But yes, and the reason that the courts have done that is because motherfuckers be fighting left and right getting children. So they have determined that if we allow parents to pick children up from school, then they're not coming into contact with each other. And the only time these motherfuckers gonna see each other is when the kids are out of school on break, which is hardly ever. You only have to deal with that shit spring break. You only have to deal with that shit summertime. You only have to deal with that shit holiday time. That's 3 times a year. And during the summer, the parent that's not the primary parent gets the child damn near the whole summer anyways. So it ain't really no pick up and drop off that you got to deal with. So, sir, I think that's a wonderful idea. Because baby mamas, they be with dramas. Okay? Not all of them, but a lot of them. And baby daddies, too. Y'all starting to act like y'all got vaginas. So that's the best thing to do. Next. Can I move out at 18? And what can my parents do if they don't agree with me? I currently live with both of my parents. I'm choosing to move out due to never seeing eye to eye with my mom or dad. That's most teenagers, bitch. Ever since I was little, I always wanted to be on my own because they're very strict. And my mom initiates fights with me and likes to lie about things I do to my dad. So I always get in trouble with my dad because of my mom. My dad is also very strict. He found out I was moving out and threatened to never welcome me back and hurt those I would move in with because they are so-called allowing me to run away. They are a bitch. Or put the idea in my head to leave my parents. They are a bitch. But it is my sole decision. I cannot stand being around a toxic household, and you might be the toxicity within the household, little girl. And I want to remove myself from it completely. I want to know what they could do in the event they find out the day I leave and try to stop me from going to the airport to leave. When you are 18, nobody can stop you. Whether or not you have graduated from high school, you are an adult for your own purposes. So you can walk your happy ass right up outside their house, take your ass to the airport. No, they cannot stop you. And if I was your parents, I would not stop your ass. And I don't think your daddy wants to stop you. Because you don't make no fucking... Your daddy said he threatened to never welcome you back. That's what he did. So what he said was, you can go, you won't come back. This ain't no kitchen door, and the motherfucker don't swing back and forth. You think you grown, you think you got it. You want to leave before you before I'm able as a parent to give you the tools that you need to make it in life, then bitch, you on your own. And I don't think anything's wrong with that. So get your ass up and go. I would tell you to leave in 17 years and fucking 10 days if you wanted to. Who gonna stop you, bitch? You damn near 18. By the time a motherfucker catch up with you, you will be 18. See, and that's why you gotta tell these little teenagers nowadays, because these motherfuckers think that this is the thing about them. They think that they grown and shit, but the bitches ain't got no money. They ain't got no money. They ain't got nowhere to stay. But they gonna tell you what the fuck they gonna do in your house. And that's the shit I ain't down with. Because at the end of the day, I'm an 80s baby. And bitch, we had to do what our parents said, or we had to get the fuck out. Okay? Now CPS don't let you put them out. They make you deal with them. So if you are going to be grown and you can decide for yourself, then decide for yourself. Do it. I mean, this world ain't gonna do nothing but eat you up, spit your ass out. But if that's what you want, little baby, take it. So, and a lot of children write me, can I leave home? Bitch, you can walk out today. If that's what the fuck you want to do. Walk your ass out the house. But a lot of people don't have no swinging doors. And your ass won't be welcome back in when you fall flat on your face. That's the part that pisses them off. Because you see, that's why she mad. She's mad because her daddy said that she couldn't come back. Well, bitch, don't leave then. It's simple. Anyways, this is a weird one, y'all. Because people don't understand that when you are married, it is joint property. This person asked me, how do I get compensated for rent I've paid from my wife? My nigga, you can't. Anyways, okay. My wife and I both have both of our names on the rental agreement documents. It wouldn't matter whose name's on there when you're married. It don't matter. And once any person, if you let Larry, Curly, and Mo live in your house for more than 30 days, you can't put them out without an eviction proceeding. So you really don't care. Really, a person shouldn't care about whose names are on those documents. And that's just what, whoever's name is on the document is the bitch got to pay for it. It don't mean that's the only person that can live there. It mean, bitch, if I don't pay this shit, you going down and your credit getting fucked up, not mine. That's what it means. Anyways, my wife and I have both of our names on the rental agreement. She's about to move out and get her own apartment, and her name is still on the lease that we share. She didn't give me any notice that she's moving out to the last minute. The rental agreement doesn't expire until June 2024. She hasn't paid rent in months. I've been paying it. Will I be able to get my half that I covered in the half I will be covering till the lease is up? Hell the fuck no. Because you're getting the whole house when the bitch leaves. So that's it. Sorry, sir. That's why you do not sign on shit with people if you don't want to be responsible for it. I had a client call me the other day talking about he got a trailer financed for his ex-girlfriend. Them trailers be expensive as hell. Okay, y'all already know how it is down here in Texas. Them trailers be $40,000, $50,000, $30,000 just for a fucking trailer.
Okay? Because depending on how big that trailer is, whether it's cattle hauling or what you hauling in it, they can be high as fuck. So the girl is still paying on the, needless to say, 2-3 years later, and he wants to shit out his name. And I was like, sir, that trailer company, finance company don't give a damn. If you sign that dotted line, you gonna be responsible for it until she refinances it. He's like, but we're broken up. I'm like, but the bank don't give a fuck. You signed your name, so you gonna be responsible for that shit until she pays it off, or you gonna have to take that bitch to court and make her sell it. Those are the only two options. So you have to be careful when you're signing on shit for people, because y'all, if they don't pay that shit, the bank has the right to come after you. And there's nothing, y'all. There is nothing in hell you can do to get your name off that paperwork except for a refinance. And half the time, them people can't even refinance the shit, which is why they needed you to sign for it in the first place, so your ass be stuck. Now, here's the jig, though. Here's the jig. This is the funny part. If your ass is on something with somebody else, it don't matter if they pay all 100% of them payments. When that title come, your name on it, and you owe half of it. I mean, you own half of it. You may not have put $1 in it, but because your name is on that paperwork, when that shit is paid off, your name will be on the title. You have 50% interest in it, and they can't sell it and do nothing without you and giving you your half. That's the jig. So it works against you, but it can work for you. It is. And if you don't want to go on with the person, you don't care, you don't want your name on it, because like this client of mine, he's like, I don't want a fucking trailer. I don't want half that shit. I was like, well, then we got to go to court and force a sale. Or she's got to refinance it. That's it. But if he wanted half of it, I tell him, let that bitch pay that shit off. And when the half comes, then I file a lawsuit against her and make her give you your half. For something you didn't pay $2 for. Because she wouldn't take it out your name. That's what she did. And I got a client right now with an open case. He bought a bitch a Benz. And she got mad. Her mom helped her pay the down payment. And some other people helped her come up with the down payment. But he was helping pay the note every month. And she wanted to keep that Benz. And I politely told his ass to go tow that motherfucker out her yard, because it was in his name and not hers, and get your Benz back. And he did. So you got to be careful when you let men get stuff for you, ladies. Men, because they can tow that shit out your yard. They can come get it because it's half theirs. It don't matter whether they paying for it. Their name is on it. They can go get any wreck truck driver to get that trailer pulled about your fucking yard at night. Get that you wake up to no car. And that's the type of shit that I'm on. Because, bitch, if I sign my name on something and we not together no more and you don't want to take my name off and you don't want to refinance that shit, bitch, well, then it's mine too. I'll tell that shit right up at the yard while y'all bitch ass sleep. You're going to get tired of waking up and not having no car in the yard to go to work, and you going to get up out that car. I'm going to get your bitch ass up out that car. You going to bitch one way or another. So, y'all got to watch that. Okay, so here's the next one. We are in the middle of divorce, but he hasn't reached out to the child in 6 months. What can I do about this? He's military, he's overseas, so he's dragging it out as long as he can. Yes, they do be doing that, and it works, because if they're deployed, you can't do shit. He's forced to pay child support, but he hasn't reached out to talk or see her via FaceTime in 6 months. Can I do anything about this? I feel like him popping in and out when it's convenient is hurtful to her. Y'all, I tell people this shit all the time. Listen, it is hurtful when you have a man or a significant other, because women do the same shit, that abandon the child and pop in and pop out that child's life. But you got to think about the child. Would you rather have half of a mama or no fucking mama at all? Like, when you sit in a circle at school and people talking about their mamas, wouldn't you want your child to be able to say something so the child ain't got to tuck their tail and feel like shit? So it's wrong, yes, to allow a parent in and out of a child's life when they're only doing it when they feel like it. Yes, it is wrong. But at the end of the day, them kids, I mean, sometimes kids don't care if their mama's a crackhead. They just want their mama. You know what I'm saying? So we got to think about not letting ourselves stand in the middle of our child, or trying to say our child feels the way we do. Because sometimes kids don't care. They don't care if they only see their parent 4 times a year. At least they're seeing their parent. Now, when they get older, that changes. Okay? Because that starts to turn to resentment. They start to get to a point where they feel like they don't need that parent, and then they start to shut that parent out. That's going to be between that child and that fucking parent. Because I tell people that shit all the time. Kids don't forget shit. Okay? And when they get older, they resent the parent that was not present. Because it does mentally harm them. However, you should never stand in between a child having a relationship with the other parent, no matter how sporadic that parent is. That child will do it themselves when they get ready. They will do it themselves when they get ready, and in the worst fucking way will they eat them up. You don't have to say shit. They all do it. I have not had a case or known any personal people that didn't eat that parent up. As soon as that child got old enough, that child ate that parent up themselves, and that parent was wallowing in tears. Let them motherfuckers be as sporadic as they want to be, because the children are not dumb. And at the end of the day, they're not even hurting you. They're hurting that child. So let that child deal with that. Let that child deal with that. Because I don't always agree with it, but in the court's mind, there's never a reason to keep a parent away from a child unless that parent is harming that child. And I know people think like that is harm. Stepping in and out of a child's life and upsetting the child is harm. But the harm doesn't rise to the level that it does for the child to never see the parent. The argument is, if a child never has a relationship with the parent, it harms the child up to here. If the child is in and out of, if the parent is in and out of the child's life, they're harmed to here. So the least harm is best. Stay out of that shit. The shit gonna work itself out. Ma'am, let him play his games. He's mad he's paying child support, bitch. Make sure that child support amount is where it should be. And make sure he continues to pay it. That's all you can do. Forcing him to be in the child's life, you cannot do. You can give a kind word and say, I did not know that you were this shitty of a father. I would expect more from you. It's best that you're more consistent with this child or something like that. But if they don't want to do it, you can't make them. You can't. But what you can do as a parent is go and ask for more child support, since he's not going to be in the child's life. Okay? Which is some shit I've thought about doing to my baby's fathers. You're not going to pick the child up? I need more child support. Then, fuck it. And everybody will be happy. So that's another way to deal with it. How do I go about getting custody orders? I'm now engaged to a man in the military, but my father's child resides here. I have her during the week, and his family's job prevent any of them from being able to be home for her during the week. And he gets her on weekends. If I get married and want to follow him out of state, can I do that? And if so, how? No, bitch, you cannot. Because most custody orders don't allow you to take somebody's child and go live where the hell you want to live. It locks you into a specific area, and that's why. Because what the courts don't want you to do is take a child away from their parent that sees them every other weekend. Because the parent that sees the child every other weekend doesn't have control over where you move at. So the court has to step in and say, hey, ma'am, you can move wherever you want with this child, but you can't go so far away from this man that he can't see his child every other weekend. And that's why they put the restriction. So, ma'am, if you're going to mess up his visitation, you're not going to be able to go. And what he will do is he'll file a petition against your ass in court and make you, A, move back, or B, give him custody of the child. Because the court is never going to destroy a relationship between a child and the child's parent that the child don't see every day. Because the child who the parent sees, because the parent who the child sees every day wants to move on with their life. If you want the child, that shit comes with restrictions. You got to be close enough so that the other parent can see their child. Now, if that child's father moves out of the county and moves away, then you can go wherever the hell you want to go. You can go to Timbuktu at that point if that's where you want to go. But as long as the person is making an effort to see their child and making an effort to live in the same county or the county next to their child and is doing their visits, you can't just take their kid and go. And you don't even know this new military man. Girl, that's why the law says that. Because you bitches, and I hate to say it, but bitches, they get a new man and they lose all sight of what the fuck they've been doing all this time. They be stuck in, they stop answering the phone for their homegirls. They stop going everywhere. Everything they do is about this motherfucking man. And that's why the courts have that rule. So that nobody can do that shit to somebody else. Take their child away. Next one. I was in a car wreck and the other party's insurance company denied liability and refused to pay for the damages. I was rear-ended on the highway after the vehicle in front of me rolled over, and now they refuse to pay for the damages. My car isn't drivable. I don't have money to fix it. Is there anything I can do at this point? It sucks, but this is why you should keep full coverage. Because sometimes shit like this happens. So what the insurance company is saying is that it's not their fault. It's somebody else's fault. She probably doesn't have that other person's insurance because it seemed like it was a 3 or 4 car pileup. Insurance companies will do that to you, and they do it mainly to people that don't have full coverage. Because they know that you ain't going to have no insurance company fighting for you. Insurance companies listen to other insurance companies. So let's say somebody gets hit, they got Progressive, and the other person has State Farm. If they know you got full coverage, if State Farm don't pay for that shit, Progressive gonna have to pay for it. Progressive gonna go back to State Farm and say, hey bitch, y'all was responsible for this car wreck and y'all didn't pay. We had to pay because she had full coverage. We want our fucking money back or we finna sue your ass. So whenever they see that you have full coverage, they not gonna play with you because they can't play with that insurance company that you got. Because what you can do is you can just go to your insurance company, say that they're underinsured or uninsured, and get your money from your insurance company. And your insurance company is going to go to that other insurance company and get their fucking money back. But if you ain't got no insurance company, they just going to say, oh, we're not liable for the injury. We're not liable for your injuries. Fuck you. So what you probably need to do is get a lawyer and fight your injury case and use that to get your car fixed. Because whatever attorney that you have is going to fight for you to be right so that they can get your injuries covered. And then once your injuries start to get covered, naturally, they're going to fix your car too. That's your only bet if you don't have full coverage. You're going to have to get a lawyer. Okay. Okay. Does this mean that the child has to have an adult with them at all times, including out-of-state airline traveling for visitation? In the order, designation of competent adult, it says it is ordered that a conservator or designated competent adult be present when the child is picked up or returned. No. So, this is what happens. What the courts don't want you doing is dropping kids off. You know how people are supposed to be swapping kids for visitation? A motherfucker will say, well, I got the kids, they waiting at McDonald's. They on the inside, sitting at the lane number 2. I got to go to work and leave the kids at McDonald's waiting on you to come get them. You done lied and said you 15 minutes away, but you're really 45 minutes away, and you scared as hell and don't know what's going on with your kids. So, yes, the court has put a rule that says whenever you exchanging kids, it has to be an adult present at the exchange, at the time of the exchange. That's it. So, an adult does have to be present whenever children are being exchanged. Now, you can agree, like, let's say you dropping the kids off at their dad's house and they know how to get in the house and close the door and shit and daddy at work. That's okay because you're dropping them off and you know they're safe. But if you want to be a bitch, you can say, I'm not doing the visit because he's not home. It's up to you. But the law does say that you need to have a competent adult. And that's to make sure these kids are being properly watched. Because when you go from parent to parent house, you know, sometimes parents don't talk and shit. Kids get stuck in the madness of that shit. And they just want to make sure the kids are safe. Can my 3-year-old daughter stay with me if she doesn't want to leave with her mom in a separation? Bitch, how do you know what a 3-year-old wants to do? My ex-girlfriend and I, we're separating after 8 years together, and I have 1 daughter. The reason that we're separated is because I found out she was cheating on me. Bitch, you are scorned because I do not even need that information. For months, she's planning to leave the house with her 2 daughters from her first marriage. But I don't want her to take my child. What should I do? Bitch, you should suck it up. Okay? Because I hate to say this, but like we got to think about the kid. Why in the fuck? Because she's a cheating ass whore. Do the kids need to be split up? I mean, you got to make that make sense to me. Yes, she cheated on you. But why does that mean that your child has to be alone now? Your child, you've been with this bitch for 8 years. You have 1 kid with her. She had 2 kids. That means these kids have been together. This 3-year-old knows their brother and sister their whole life. You can't take that from them, sir, because you're mad. And you can't be that goddamn selfish and say, I'm going to split these children up because she's a cheating bitch. It's not right. She probably is wrong for being a nasty hoe. She's wrong for that. But, sir, you can't split them kids up. You can't. The court is really not going to let you do that. It has to be like, the kid's getting beat on or something for you to get your child. They are not going to split them kids up. And this is the type of shit that I can't stand. He's so fucking mad that she cheated on him that he's willing to destroy his 3-year-old child by ripping these kids apart. Fuck how much these kids love each other. Fuck the fact that they see each other every day and go to bed together. He don't care. She cheated on me. I want my kid. That is why the burden in a custody battle in pretty much every state in America is what is best for the kid. Not what's best for your crying ass. Not what's best for your nasty, cheating, slutty ass. What's best for the child. And I do not think it's best that you take a 3-year-old child away from their siblings and everything that they know. That's not. Because already y'all finna break up. So the world is finna come crashing down for this 3-year-old. The least that you want to do is keep some shit the same so the kid don't flip completely the fuck out. So taking them away from their siblings and changing their home and all this and taking away from their mom, that shit could emotionally traumatize a 3-year-old for the rest of their life. And I don't see a reason to do it. If she's not abusing those children, being a whore, she probably was a whore when you met her. Was she with her husband when you met her? I mean, how you find them is how you keep them. I'm not saying she's right. I'm saying, what is the best interest of the children? That's all I'm saying. Now, if it's in the children's best interest for you to take your daughter and split, then the courts will allow that. But if it ain't, you ain't going to get that shit. You're going to have to pay this slut child support. And it is what it is. People cheat. Does it mean they're bad parents? No. Many people are cheaters. It does not make them a bad father or a bad mother. It makes them a bad spouse or a bad girlfriend. So you got to put shit where it's at and leave it there. Don't try to intertwine the two and hook the shit together. She's a good mother. You the person that made the bad decision picking a hoe and trying to make her a housewife. That's your business. Okay, so next case. My ex and I were really smart, and we both represented ourselves with our divorce decree. Now we messed it up. We have a marital house, and I'm only to receive 10% of the profit or the loss upon the sale. My ex was living in it with my son, but he recently moved them into a house that's owned by his girlfriend. He doesn't pay rent. That has nothing to do with shit, bitch. Why do people be haters? It's so funny because when they write me, you could tell what they don't like. So the bitch mad because he got a new bitch and he ain't got to pay rent now. That's what pissing her off. Okay. The home is being rented and would sell at a loss right now. Who decides to sell the home if it needs to be sold? And we don't agree on anything, so what do we need to do? Baby, you're going to have to go back to court. Because if y'all can't agree on the sale language, then you're going to have to get the court to say what that sale language is going to be. But, bitch, he has moved on. He has found some bitch that wants to take care of him. And you can't be mad about it. Be glad you dodged a bullet, bitch. The house is owned by his girlfriend. Let her be the fucking fool and let her raise your son and your other son. Because it sounds like your ex is a son. A fucking bum. And, who the fuck wants a bum-ass nigga? Y'all, the thing about... Sometimes I know my clients be like, damn, I ain't never think about it like that. Baby, let that bitch get that bum. That nigga is the same bum with that bitch that he was with you. Don't look at the Facebook photos. Don't look at the Instagram pictures. Don't think that nigga is any happier with that bitch than he was. If he is an unemployed motherfucker, that bitch is paying extra bills. Let that bitch pay them bills. Let it be her loss and not yours. And move on. You dodged a fucking bullet. We are not taking care of grown-ass men in 2024, bitch. We're not doing it. So let them dumb assholes take care of grown-ass men in 2024. Because, bitch, you're not doing it. Okay? So what you're not going to do is write me giving a fuck that you got away from a fucking bum. We're going to be happy about that shit. We are not going to be sad about that shit. All you women out here that, you're not in your relationships anymore. You looking up. He looking with the bitch. They looking happy. And that's all you see. Bitch, be happy you dodged the bullet. We not taking care of niggas in 2024. We're not doing it. Let that bitch take care of your old ass bill. We are out here in this world trying to make it. We already got kids to raise. We don't need another kid. A grown-ass man that don't want to pay no rent, that don't have no job, that really ain't doing much with himself is a fucking kid, bitch. End of discussion. You dodged the bullet, bitch. You don't want to come to my office. I'm going to tell you, bitch, be happy, bitch. Buy them hoes a gift. Make sure that nigga stay over there with that bitch. Because we not taking care of niggas in 2025. We not doing it. We just not. We're done with that. We are through. And as black women, we are putting these kids out. We are teaching these kids, get your ass out of my house and be a productive individual. You don't have to go to school. You don't have to get a trade. But bitch, you better be employed. Okay? Because motherfuckers these days think it's okay for them to go through a transition period at 50 years old. A transition period at 40 years old. A transition period at 30 years old. Bitch, you are done transitioning in your 20s. If you are 22, 23 years old, you bested to have a fucking job, bitch. You are not allowed to be a full-time student without a job. Past the age of 23. I'm through with it. Let her pay for him. Because any bitch that wants to pay for a man is not a real woman. I mean, they got half a titty, not two titties. They can't puff their chest out. Because, bitch, you paying for dick. You're paying for dick. Okay? And it happens, and especially me being a lawyer, I watch these bitches pay for dick, and I'm like, bitch, you gotta be kidding me. You're paying for dick, bitch. That's what you're doing. I don't give a fuck if you marry this nigga. You're paying for dick. Bitch, for better or worse, bitch, for 2 or 3 years. And if they can't get it right, bitch, kick them to the curb. Okay? You didn't never sign up to take care of no grown-ass man. Never. Never. Okay. People just be getting married. Okay, this person said, can I marry on the 30th day in Nevada, even though I'm supposed to wait 30 days after the judge finalizes my divorce to remarry? The Texas judge will sign and finalize my divorce on the 1st. I was wanting to remarry to someone new on the 31st in Vegas. Will my new marriage be legal, and am I breaking any laws? Hell no, bitch. You're not breaking no laws. The reason that they tell you that you should wait until 30 days after your divorce has been finalized is because somebody can file an appeal and open the case back up. And you may still be married per se, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. Bitch, live your life. Go get married, bitch. Don't change your date over some fucking divorce date. You done with that motherfucker. So that's you leaving that person in the past. When you leave somebody in the past, you're not going to let them control your future. When you leave somebody in the past, y'all, you never let them control your future. The point of you leaving them hoes behind is that you don't want to be connected to them no more. So if you are done, you have signed your papers, and it's a matter of whether or not you're getting ready to don't get your shit. Don't get married, bitch. You did what you had to do. They ain't going to catch you with bigamy. You good. Okay. I have like a couple more. I'm about to wrap it up. So somebody says, I ate raw meat at McDonald's, but I don't have any pictures to prove it. I told the general manager about my order, and they refunded me my money back, but now I'm feeling sick. Okay, true story. Almond. Okay? True story. Anyways, I ate raw meat from McDonald's, but I don't have any pics to prove it. I told the general manager about my order. They refunded me my money back, but now I'm feeling sick. What do I do? Y'all, food cases are hard to prove. Number one, you got to keep the food refrigerated so it can be tested by an expert, which costs thousands of dollars. Two, you also have to test your body so that they can find within your body the same shit that they find within that food, tie the two together, and then you have to get a doctor to say the symptoms that you are experiencing are from the food in your body, which is the same food that you tested that you keep. It's not as easy as people think. So with this person right here, you don't have no motherfucking, you don't really have a case. That's why when people get food poisoning, They pretty much just get sick, lose 15 pounds, and bounce back. Because it's very hard to prove, you know, who the fuck gonna pay a couple $1,000s to prove some food poisoning? So, ma'am, I hope that they refunded you. They did refund you your money back. So, I think that's pretty much all you're gonna get with that. I'm just being honest with you. Unless you're willing to do what I told you, you know what I'm saying, you gotta do. Okay, I'm not gonna do that one because that's some weird shit. Can a title company record a correction instrument to correct a vesting issue? I'm assigning my first contract to purchase property currently owes $20,000 in back taxes, and there is an open tax suit against it. You don't never want to do that. The sellers, Jane and John Doe, are heirs to their father's estate. Oh, shit. The decedent was divorced and had no additional children. However, this is where things take a turn. I bet they do. The decedent passed away in February of 2016. Fast forward to August and October 2016, 2 additional special warranty deeds were recorded. They were special, all right. The first one conveyed ownership from the decedent and, of course, was forged. Color of title, I say. Whatever. What do I need to do to void these documents? What you need to do is file a lawsuit against these people in court to get those documents voided out and to get your interest established in that home. This is the reason why it is not good to buy, homes from tax foreclosures and shit unless you got a lawyer on deck and know what you're doing. A lot of times you are buying houses that do not have clear title. People have died 50 years ago. The house has been lived in by somebody auntie. Then now the little cousins are living in it, and it's hard to know who it even belongs to. But you can get that shit taken care of. It's just very expensive because now you got to sue all these heirs in court, and you got to establish the percentage interest that you own in that home so that then you can take that court order to a title company and get them to clear the title. It's a mess. So don't be going out buying these foreclosure homes because y'all see that shit on Instagram and shit like that's an easy bid and shit. It ain't as easy as these motherfuckers make it out to be when you buying these tax foreclosures. Now, it's cool when you get them from a bank because the bank gonna clear the title for you. So those foreclosures, like if the bank is foreclosing on that bitch and you buy it, you good. Because that's gonna come with clear title. A bank can't give you a house without clear title. They ain't allowed to do that shit. And they a bank, you sue the fuck out them hoes. So they not gonna play with you like that. Because you can get more money from them than what the house is worth. They fuck you over. But when y'all doing these tax sale shits and you dealing with individuals, that's how them arrows be all caught up and shit. They be losing all their money and shit because they be buying them damn tax things, talking about they cheap and then can't get the motherfucking title to the house. They be fucked up. They can't get the motherfuckers out of the house. So, you should have a TV show. Oh, thank you, Floyd. I'm working on it. I am working on it. So, yeah, I'll just be on here. If y'all have any questions, always upload or email. Send me your questions, booker@bookerlawfirm.com. I love to, talk to y'all about it. Y'all let me know kind of how y'all like it. I do have a show on YouTube, actually, Floyd. It's called Order in the Court, but it's a little different. And it gives it's not really legal advice, but I answer legal questions. You can tell by the headings exactly what I'm going to talk about. So if you're looking for specific answers to specific questions, go on my YouTube page, Legal QT. That's LEGAL, the letter Q, the letter T with 2 E's, Legal Cutie. Find me there, and then you can go look for any topic that you're specifically looking for. Okay? Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this motherfucking live up. This was dope. Really needed to hear. Hey, what's up? Oh, Sugar Bee Eats. Thank you. So I'll be doing these. Don't worry about it. I'll be doing these all the time and shit. But again, if you're looking for specific shit, because when you on here, you don't know what you're going to get. Because I'm just going to run the show. But on my YouTube channel, you can find specific shit you looking for. You know what I'm saying? Because they put the editors write exactly what I'm discussing on those. And they're really short videos. Good to watch. Alright, y'all have a fantastic day. It's Legal QT, she your lawyer, signing out. Make sure you put your comments below, ask your questions, say whatever you want to say, alright? And y'all, we don't do no bullying on here, but we also ain't finna stop no bullying, but y'all just be nice. But I want people to be able to say what they want to say on my platform. So I'm just gonna pretty much let y'all say what y'all want to say to each other. I called you yesterday for some information. Okay, I'm in. Well, when y'all call me, y'all have to wait approximately 24 to 48 hours. Somebody from my office will call you back. As long as you leave the proper information for a callback, you will get it. Alrighty? And if you ever want to reach me directly, you can email me directly, booker@bookerlawfirm.com. Bye, y'all.